The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Dan Anderson saying very, very welcome to this week's webinar. For those of you who are new, and I see that there's a good number of people on this call, this is the weekly pulse beat of Leo. This is something that we've done now for the last 7 years, and over 7 years I think we've missed 2 separate occasions when we didn't do it. So this is where you get your updates, the weekly communication, like I say, the weekly pulse beat of sort of what's going on, and running a global business is not an easy matter, and communication is kind of key. And when I created this company, I wanted it to be a transparent company. I wanted it to be a company that communicated, and I think that we have a very, very good record of that. By no stretch of the imagination are we a perfect company, but we are a company that has perfect intentions, and we're quite proud of our track record. Now, where we are, if I take the perspective of being the CEO of this company and sort of look at where we are as an organization, I am very, very happy, because we have had some challenges, and we've had some legal conflicts, and we've had different things going on, but all of that is kind of coming to a place where I can see the road much more clearly going forward here now. There's obviously a lot of rumor marketing going on out there, and there's lots of misinformation, and exactly the same as we see in many different political arenas in the world today. We certainly have our fair share of misinformation and false and fake news, and goodness knows what else. The only difference between me and other leaders is that I don't Twitter every 5 minutes and send out random things, because one of the things that I believe, especially when it comes to network marketing, is don't feed the animals. In other words, if you have some stuff going on, and if you engage with it, it's like you're putting petrol on the fire. So notwithstanding whatever rumors you may have heard, we're in good shape, and we're moving forward with very, very good clarity and purpose and mission and vision. So in the overall scheme of things, we're in fantastic shape. Now, certainly in the last 2 years, we've spent some time weeding the garden and kind of putting together the team that I want to have here, and I'm very, very proud of the organization that we have, because notwithstanding the fact that we're in a good place, we've certainly had our challenges to deal with, and I think that is just the landscape that you live in. When you're running a business, when you're running a global business, you're always going to have to deal with challenges, and it's kind of just part of the landscape. The challenges that I've been dealing with in the last 12 months, it is extraordinary how the executive team and the management team and the staff of Leo have carried on carrying on. I quite like how we as an organization have a relatively flat structure, and everyone communicates as equals, and we don't have this sort of deeply set hierarchy, and testimony to that is that in times of trouble, the organization just carries on, because people are self-empowered and motivated to do their jobs and their functions, and not scared to pick up on things outside of that. So in the overall scheme of things, we're in fantastic good shape. So the agenda today is kind of one of these webinars that there's not got earth-shaking news, but we've got some fairly important announcements. But everyone is prepared and revving up now for Brazil, and the corporate teams are starting to travel from Wednesday. I know that some field people have already started travel. The key executive people, we're all going on Friday, so that's kind of where we are. So this is the last week before that, and the preparations have been, I don't think it's ever finished or not completed, but we certainly are in a very good shape to do the best ever global annual conference that this company has ever done. So that's quite cool. But for this webinar, the first thing, which is the area of recognition, and the one that I'm really, really pleased about, is our newest national marketing directors, Charlie and Ash. For those of you who don't know them, although that would be almost impossible, because they've achieved so much recognition, especially in the last few months, because of some of the work that they've done, has really helped the company go from one place to the next place. And it's kind of interesting, because we sort of had a Asia Pacific business at one point, and then we had an Asia Pacific business plus a Dubai region business, and now we also have an African business, and these two people with their teams and other people as well, as we're not sort of taking away from anyone, but I do want to give special recognition to Charlie and Ash, because they're very young, they're very dynamic, they're very hardworking, and I don't think they ever stop. I get direct communication from them, and we have WhatsApp messages and stuff going on all the time. And so I have a direct connection into these two leaders, and I'm very, very pleased to have them on the team, because they're passionate, and they care, and they're trying to do something. And I've been putting together some marketing materials, and one of the things, I kind of put words in their mouth a little bit, but I stated in this marketing piece that you'll see later that Charlie says that I care for my people like they're my family. I will fight for them. And let me tell you, as CEO of this company, she fights for her people. She cares passionately about all of her people as if they are her family. As much as they are Leo family, they're also in Charlie's and Ash's family, and they're passionate and they care. And if you want to look at an example of leadership, these two guys are it. Charlie is one thing, Ash is another. He's very charismatic. He does trainings, he drives the business, he organizes webinars and conferences and trainings, and the two of them have done some fantastic work, which our compensation plan recognizes, because it just last week promoted them to national marketing director, and that's in such quick time from their previous position to crack through and go national marketing director is an extraordinary achievement. So congratulations, you two, the most dynamic couple, maybe the most dynamic couple that we have in our business, and I look forward to celebrating your success, and I look forward to seeing you in Brazil, and I can't wait to see what you do with this global platform that we wanted to create for people just like you, who wanted to build a global business, a multicultural business, a business that crosses borders and every barrier that there ever was. You can build a business with Leo like these two guys are doing, and it'll be very interesting to see where that goes. We also have a new marketing director in the Asia Pacific region, Wang Shuahua. If I think I pronounced that correctly, I don't know. But again, another fantastic example of a relatively young marketing director, very, very dynamic, very hardworking, been with us for a while, and is totally focused and totally committed, and just very, very nice to see that we're getting this multicultural thing. And what is cool about this recognition that we've done on this webinar is we recognize the people, but they are lifted up by a global business. So they all have business outside of their home countries. They all have business in all the continents of the world, and that's kind of part of what I'm so excited about with Leo, that people like Shuehua and Charlie and Ash can build a global business that pulls people together, that shares a common business vision, and that tries to do something where we build bridges between people, not walls. Now, in terms of our first updates, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Mihir Magudia, our Director of External Affairs, who last week was in London and providing secretariat services for the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Digital Currencies that met on the 13th of March. Mihir, are you there?
Yes, I am, Dan. Thanks very much. Yes,
So
so
tell
this
me
was...
about this. Tell me about this. This is like your third or fourth meeting of the Digital Currencies
Yes, so we
APPG?
started this all-party parliamentary group about a year ago or so. We've had a few meetings. They're the people who help us host Digital Currency Day when we hold that in
Yeah.
Parliament. I know lots of people on this call were there last year. This is kind of the forum for MPs, so members of Parliament and the House of Lords, to come together and discuss issues and talk about things, and to agree a way forward for digital currencies in the UK. So this is one of the meeting rooms inside the Houses of Parliament, and we were there for our meeting, and we talked to lots of MPs, and they came and spoke to us, and it was a really, really good discussion about regulation, about some of the real nuts and bolts of the industry, the stuff that doesn't get a lot of press, doesn't get a lot of coverage, but without which everything else falls over. So it was
so
a real honor to be there.
when we look at these people, are we looking at members of Parliament, elected representatives from different regions of the UK that normally sit in the House of Commons?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at. So on the right there, you can see there's sort of John Howell, who's the local MP to the Oxfordshire office, We have, and then next to him, there's a member of the Scottish Nationalist Party, I think, with his back to us. There's a Lord, and then there's a few more MPs dotted around there. And so there are people there who are asking questions, having a conversation, really agreeing all sorts of things about the future of digital currencies, the future of regulation. So it's kind of us playing our role in the sector. It's kind of us doing what we think is best for the future. So they've got a sustainable industry around the company, not just the company itself. So it's a really, really important thing to be participating in, and it's kind of us doing what we should be doing as a major player in this space.
Now, in terms of helping our global members understand and appreciate the work that we're doing here, there's APPGs on all sorts of things, right?
Yeah, on dozens, well, hundreds of issues. On every country's got one, and lots of different special interest topics have one. So anything that's of interest to regulators, anything that's of interest to Parliament, you set one of these things up. And this is the one, the only one on digital currencies, and it's there to promote digital currencies, to talk about them, and to really just make sure that whatever happens in the future, it's sympathetic to the future of the industry.
And so this is cutting across sort of not government per se, but it's cutting across party politics, and so you have liberals, conservatives, etc., represented.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's for any member of Parliament or member of the House of Lords from any party who wants to know more, who wants to participate, and who wants to be part of this. So we're very, very pleased with this sort of engagement, because this event was a bit different to our last one, which was much more of a question and answer thing with an audience in the back. This was what we called a round table discussion, where we sort of go around and everyone's got a few points and all that sort of stuff. And you have a conversation rather than like a big broadcast thing.
And have they sort of settled down to actually start to create some objectives and things that they want to achieve?
Yeah, kind of that piece of work is done. It's now about plugging into what the Treasury is doing, what the government's doing, what the regulators are doing, and influencing those things in the right way. That's kind of where we're going forward now with to make sure that our objectives are and our views are part of the government regulation and have a big as influence as possible.
Yeah, because I mean, when we did the event in South Africa, I did hear with a smile on my face that you are the advisor to the British government on cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I remember we were texting back and forth about that at the time. So this is a group that consists of members of Parliament, and the Digital Currency Foundation and the Leo Coin Foundation obviously support it. And this group is kind of what we're starting to become the group of expert MPs and expert parliamentarians is the group word for them, who advise the Treasury, advise other MPs, advise anyone who's willing to listen and willing to be have the issue discussed about what we think about the world and what we think about the future. So I think that's kind of where this all came from.
Yeah, but so then to some extent, I mean, you are not providing a leadership role for this, but more of a support role.
Oh, absolutely. It's not our job to lead this group. It's our job to facilitate and make sure this group happens and does, and is sort of guided and influenced in the right way. But this is absolutely a group of legislators in the UK, and that's why it's so powerful, and that's why it's so important.
And so in that sense, then, for all of our members' benefit, you can say, and credibly say, and factually say that we are part of the conversation, but we're not sort of part of an advisory group to government or anything like that, because I think it's fairly important that the members tell the right story and don't over exaggerate it. Having said that, it is also good work that we're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of the beautiful things about this group, about all the stuff we're doing. The truth is, frankly, good enough. The truth is pretty incredible, and so we never need to embellish or change anything. Really, it's just it's an all-party group. It's on digital currencies. We're facilitating. We're helping set it up. We're getting it going, and it's a great place for us to be in.
Yeah. And so in terms of the foundation, we have one for the digital currencies and we have one for Leo Coin Foundation, of course, as well. Are they starting to be recognized now and get inquiries and people reaching out to us in the foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're constantly we're constantly sending in evidence. We're probably asked for questions, asked about issues. We get all sorts of questions from legislators to the Digital Currency Foundation, asking about a particular thing, asking about letters they're receiving from their constituents, just trying to get our expert view on all sorts of things. So, it's nice to have that sort of trusted position now, and we're quite pleased with where.
So while Bitcoin is obviously the leading the PR race, everyone knows about Bitcoin, but we're starting to get sometimes, I did smile the other day, we're starting to get Bitcoin and Leo coin from the mouth of people.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time. People talk about Bitcoin and Leo coin in the same breath, and
Yeah.
that's kind of that unprompted endorsement, which is
No.
kind of the golden goose, really.
Well, I have to compliment you on the work that you're doing there, because it's absolutely fantastic. Now, the other thing that we've got going on is because we're doing a bit of a restructure thing in the UK, some of you might have heard all sorts of things on the rumor wagon. Like I said, we don't feed the animals and we don't get involved in that, but certainly we are. There are some corporate structural changes going on in the UK. One of those issues that has arisen is that one of our MasterCard provider is changing the contract with us. So we have a temporary embargo on loading the Leo MasterCard. That means that your cards are fine and the balance that you have there you can be using, but until we've sorted out the company restructuring, we can't actually load the cards, which is very, very annoying. Having said that, we are also responding to this, and we don't think that this will last for very long, and there's no fundamental issue, but we have to transfer the contract from one company to another company, and all of that is a bit tedious and dull, and we're dealing with compliance and legal departments and blah, 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 blah. So it is what it is. It's kind of part of the landscape of running a global business that you sometimes get issues that are annoyances. But having said that, one of the things that we wanted to help our members do, obviously we have different withdrawal methods as well. So we'll facilitate that, and those of you who have made a withdrawal request from last week and it got stuck in the system, we have reversed all of those, so the balance should be back on your card, and you can explore other avenues for pulling out the funds that are absolutely yours. So we have no issue whatsoever with that. The other thing that do we want to talk about this now, me here, or later on about the online money?
I think now's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, so what we just want to do in the interim is one of the things that we've been very careful about is making sure that we do a correct balance between digital currencies and fiat currencies, because if we accepted 100% of digital currencies into our business and no other form of method of payment, we would get to a situation where we would actually run out of actual cash. So some products we've not allowed people to use digital currencies to purchase. That we wanted to make sure that this was something that brought in fiat, because we had to make investments to make sure that we delivered on the product promise that we made. Blah 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 blah. In particular, the DMS and the LMS, because there's a mining base to these products, and there's an investment that has to be made in hardware. We've made it so that you couldn't use your online monies to purchase these products, because we had to make sure that the product created the right cash flow in the right kind of currencies. What we are doing right now, and this has gone live, is that you can use your online money, your online commissions, to purchase LMS. And that means that you can do that, and you can take those to market, and we've just added another way for you to pay for them, which is a fantastic benefit, that we can be flexible with our members like that. So that's kind of we won't send out a central communication about it. It's apparent on your back line, but you can use your monies and purchase products with Leo as if it's real money, and of course it is, because it's your commissions. So all power to you. Now, the child education packages, the lovingly known as charity packs, they're coming alive now, and you'll be getting some updates on this. Your leaders will be getting updates on this in Brazil. But we made the change just recently that you get 125 RP on your first product pack purchase, 80 RP on the rest, because obviously we want to make sure that no one can game this and do hanky-panky things. But we also wanted it so that if someone purchased one, it actually played well with our plan and was aligned with the different recognition positions there, and the different levels. So This is now live, and money is being collected and money is being put into different charity projects. The next the next school that we're going to do is in Cambodia, and we're looking forward to the executive trip that we'll talk about a little bit later. But one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to take a select group of leaders from all of our markets, make sure that we have that geographical coverage so that they can see the power of what we're doing. Because Mihir and I was talking about this the other day, and extraordinarily, this little company called Leo, if you like, started 7 years ago. The school that we funded in Nepal, they now have, I think, something like 500 students and kids going through. We're launching another school in Cambodia. We have a couple of projects lined up for Pakistan. We have several people speaking to us about different areas, including China and Africa as well. And even right now, there's something like 700, 800, maybe coming on for 1,000 kids that this year will receive education in a formal manner that could be absolutely life-changing for them in communities where they've never had formal education available to them, because quite frankly they haven't had the infrastructure, they haven't had a place for people to safely study and be out of harm's way, if you like. So this is something that we're doing now. If we're educating 1,000 kids this year, and it's probably going to go to more than that, can you think about the impact that will have, just teaching children how to read and to write and do arithmetic and get that basic education that then opens up other educational doors for them for secondary education. And fundamentally, in families and communities where there's never been a member of the family receiving a formal education, now thanks to the Leo charity project, we are actually having a real impact in the real world. And when you see what we're doing, if you're one of the lucky people that comes with us to Cambodia and see the impact that this has on children and kids, it'll be the most extraordinary thing. And as some of you know, my goal is certainly that this will be one of the flagships of what Leo does in the next 10 years. And if we can do 2 schools, we can do 5, and we can do 10. And if with the power of duplication, we can do 10 schools, we can do 100. And if we can do 100, we can do 1,000. And before you know it, we'll be touching so many communities and nations in the world through our direct selling model, through our duplication model, through our legs on the ground model, where our members bring us worthy projects that we can engage with and then help us make those projects a success. This is something that keeps me awake at night with the power of it. And by leveraging direct selling mechanisms into something like this, where we can sort of cut out the waste and the inefficiencies of that many charity organizations suffer from, it is just the most extraordinary thing. So always banging the drum about that, but you'll see why when you come, if you come to Brazil. The Momentum Tour is in kind of in its stages now, where you can choose different options depending on where you live in the world. I think it's fair to say that the Dubai one is sold out now and fully booked out. What we are doing is funneling people now into the China cruise one. Mia here, do you have some updates on this and what's going on? Because I'm a little bit out of the loop, to be honest.
Yes, so essentially, if you qualified before a certain date, you can choose where you go, either to Dubai or to get on the boat, which I believe leaves from Hong Kong. And if you qualified after a certain date, then I think you're definitely going to Hong Kong. I think that was just the way we had to book it, and we had to kind of confirm and firm up numbers with our suppliers and all the rest of it before the deadlines had passed. So that was just a bit of a wrinkle there. But nonetheless, both events are an incredible thing, and you should download your tickets when they're available. And the deadline to do that and to redeem them is the end of April.
Yeah, very good, very good. So everything is kind of pushing up to deadlines and things like that, but just do the responsible thing, find out what deadlines apply to you, do the necessary, because this is a good looking group of people that are going to be training you. And we are going to give you so much education and stuff that we can't go into the details of on this weekly GAM, that we need to be face to face with you. There's going to be some very, very cool things coming through. But more details of that are coming through as well, so that's fine. The executive trip is exactly the same. This is now fully booked out by the end of March. That means that you have another 2 weeks to the 31st of March to qualify for the executive trip. If you are close, get qualified. If you've got someone in your team who's close, help him qualify, because it'll be worth it. Cambodia, Mihir has been there. He's done a recce. He's done an excursion there to sort of check out what's going on. But this is bigger and more exciting than anything we've ever done for the executives before. And we also have this angle of a new charity project that we're running over there, which in itself will not leave a dry eye in the house. So we are talking about jungles, we are talking about ancient temples, we're talking about one of the most positive countries in the world that is really up and coming, a little bit like Leo. So 31st of March, absolutely crucial that you push for that. And the other thing that we have is at the moment you can qualify with 3,000 RP in your lesser team to go platinum, and this is an incentive because the normal level for that is 4,000, but at the moment it's at 3,000, and this will not last forever. It's one of those things that we don't actually give you the date on, but this is not a long-term incentive. It's not something that's going to be turned off this week either, but it's something that is here now, and it won't be here forever. So just bear that in mind, that this is one of the incentives that's running and that you take advantage of. But this is one that is a bit more of a serious announcement, because the rank awards between bronze, silver and gold, this incentive is finally going. In other words, we've run this for as long as we could, and we've made a few tweaks and adjustments to it, but it's become, according to the analysis that we've done, it's becoming a little too much of a good thing, because we want to be managing how many Leo coins, etc., go into the economy and so on and so forth. So with this announcement here, the 31st of March is the last day for those rank awards. And that means that the amount that you get at the bronze level, the silver level and the gold level will become, as per normal, nothing. So there will be no extension of this, and there's not going to be any thing. So you have 2 weeks to push this through and take advantage of while it's still at this generous level. So we love you like, sometimes we love you like a mother, and we're all caring and nurturing, and sometimes we love you as a father, and we have to give you medicine that sometimes is a little bit hard to swallow. This is one of those where we have to love you as a father, because we are only interested in running a sustainable long-term business, and you can't constantly turn things up and up and up. Sometimes you have to give something that you then take away. This is one of those occasions where we're taking it away. So that means that the sales that you do this week, you should push hard this week, because the people that you get on board, and if you train them up, they will have an extra week with this extra benefit, and that they will be very, very grateful to you. If you sign them up and don't get them moving and don't start them forward, then they'll come to you in 2 weeks' time on the 1st of April, and they'll say, why didn't you teach me? Why didn't you do this? And the people that sign up then will be a bit sad that you didn't sign them up before. So this is the time to put your effort where the plan is. In other words, use this to help drive your business. And those of you who are network leaders, you know exactly what that means. That means that people work hard towards a deadline. Here is a deadline, the 31st of March. You can, for the same effort, you can make further mileage, and for the same effort, your people get a better benefit. So this is the time to work very, very hard. Now, the other thing that I was just sent this literally, I think yesterday, and it's kind of a big thing in the news, because Pakistan is one of the markets that we're very, very committed to in one sense, but it's a difficult market. So we're sort of not officially here. We've had a sales agency operating in Pakistan. This is obviously part of the Dubai region, and it's certainly had more than its fair share of challenges. In fact, someone described it once as the toughest market in the world for any business, and I think there's probably truth to that. But the government is now finally embracing digital currencies. If you see what this was in the news over the weekend, and they've recommended to the finance minister Assaalam that they should legalize the business of cryptocurrencies. And so this is a big announcement, because up until now, digital currencies in Pakistan has been in the grey area. The central banks have have issued edicts and rules that no cryptocurrency business can have a bank account. They haven't said that digital currencies are illegal, but they certainly haven't been supportive of them either. Part of the reason for that is that the FIA, the Federal Investigations Agency, has had a mandate to clamp down on scams and hanky-panky businesses. And Pakistan, the same as many other countries, have had more than its fair share of scams. There's been OneCoin and there's been this, that, the other. Recently, we heard that some 10 leaders in a business not connected to Leo in any way, shape, or form, but that someone who's no longer part of Leo launched. We heard rumors and had confirmation that some 10 people were taken into custody because they were running a hanky-panky business built on some sort of bogus digital currency. And that's all I'll say about that. But now Pakistan is willing to regulate the space, and that's the first point of moving an industry forward. As you might recall, we have been part of launching a direct selling bill that we're pushing through Parliament now, even as we speak, that we're hoping will have some traction and get moving on this year. Maybe in the next 3 months, maybe in the next 6 months, we'll have some further updates on that. These things happen slowly, but they eventually happen. And when a country regulates direct selling, that means that you can define and tell what good looks like. Until you regulate, the scams can come in and pretend that they're legitimate and do harm to the general population. Exactly the same for digital currencies. You have to regulate and define and tell the business community what good looks like, so that legitimate digital currencies like Bitcoin, like Litecoin, like Leocoin, are recognized as legitimate currencies with a blockchain and with proper market forces, with proper governance, if you like. While it's not central, the Leocoin Foundation certainly does its share of making sure that the baby grows up into a strong and robust teenager and adult in the fullness of time. So we work with the all-party parliamentary groups in the UK. We've been in with the Treasury. We've spoken, certainly, we're within the government. And so we're part of the digital currency conversation. What is really, really nice that is now in Pakistan, they're recognizing that digital currencies are legitimate if they're legitimate. And so one of the things that we're doing, again, in association with central authorities, is we're launching a digital currency training scheme in English. So this will be a global reach, but it's predominantly, we designed it for the Pakistani and the South Asian communities and the Dubai region, where you can get an accredited course endorsed by educational authorities on digital currencies and blockchain development in 3 or 4 tiered stages, which ultimately leads to a proper qualification. And this is something that Leo is doing because we believe in digital currencies, we believe in this space. So this is just kind of a breath of fresh air to notice that Pakistan is very dynamic and forward thinking, and finally pulling its head out of the sand and saying, okay, we will do something about it. So June 2019 will be here in 5 minutes. And if they can create a regulatory environment, that could only be good for the region. That's all I'll say about that. Me here, what's going on with Leocoin 3? I think that there's some good stuff happening, and there's lots of development, and we're looking at some big reveals in the next few weeks. I might have lost me here. No.
I was muted.
There you are.
Yeah.
Very good. Tell me about Leocoin 3.
All good with Leocoin 3. We've just agreed, the details of the smart contract to run how the new proof of stake system will work. Now, obviously, you understand in a new blockchain like Ethereum, a completely new technology, everything we want to transport over is not just a flicking of a switch, it's a rewriting of every single element. And so that's kind of virtually done or very much on its way to being delivered. We've sorted out a whole bunch of other smart contracts which will be dormant at launch, but which will be activated in the coming months as we build more traction about it. I know Marios is working hard on the guides, so we hope to publish those in Brazil next week. That'll be some of the things that you need to read and understand to move your coins across to the new blockchain, to download an Ethereum wallet. All of that nuts and bolts training stuff you need to be on top of so that you can train your teams on how to operate in an external market. So we're very, very pleased with that. The upgrade site is basically done. There's some early screenshots of it, I think, on the next slide, but it's kind of moved beyond this now as well. And in addition to that, there's a very, very funky new KYC system that's being created, and that might not be ready for the next couple of weeks, but it's close to there. And I'll talk a lot more about that in Brazil, that's for sure, because that'll be something that all of you will be very excited about, and certainly something that will help you talk about using this coin, talking about how you giving you lots of God, what can I say without saying what it is? It'll just help you build your community and help you build the Leo community because the way it'll work. But fine.
One of the things that's quite difficult is that we know how much work we're doing, and we're completely almost reinventing the coin from sort of fundamental blockchain levels and all the way up. And so we're designing so many different functions and features that obviously we can't all launch at once, but we have to plan for them in the initial launch. Otherwise, they're not catered for subsequently when we launch them in. So we have a whole, in Swedish, we would say a smorgasbord of things that are coming through on LeoCoin 3. But really, we should be talking about LeoCoin 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the same breath, because some of the things that will come a bit later are very, very powerful indeed. So this is a whole launch plan for something that is much bigger than what we've had before. If you recognize that when we started, we were just a carbon copy of a open source blockchain platform, and then we've enhanced it, but now we're taking it to a whole new level. Now, at the end of the day, technology doesn't change anything in terms of what we're trying to do here. What changes everything is community. But the community that you represent on this call, you can be very, very confident that we're launching something very, very funky and very, very sexy and very, very easy to use, so that we can win that community engagement, which is what's going to drive all of the economy of LeoCoin. And when the LeoCoin economy is on track, then the value of LeoCoin will go up in an almost organic response. So this is not something that you can manipulate. This is not something where you can slide a button and just increase the price. It has to be done through delivering something real, and that's the difference between us and the scams that try to make up shortcuts because they're just interested for a short-term business. So very, very pleased about that, Mihir. Anything else you want to add to that, to LeoCoin 3?
No, just that when what we're launching is a new Leo coin with some features, and built into it are a whole raft of other smart contracts and other features that are being ironed out and will come as we build up momentum behind the Leo coin, because we can't launch with everything all at once. It would create an incredibly complex and confusing launch process. And actually, it's a bit like, well, when you play computer games, you go up the levels, you get better and better and better, you get more stuff, and stuff gets unlocked. It's a little bit like that. So you're introduced carefully and slowly to this new world, because there's going to be a bit of wallet training that people are going to have to do. They're going to have to get their heads around using multi-coin wallets as well. There's a whole piece of work that needs to be done, and sort of we don't want to overwhelm people with one go, so we're going to do it nice and gently. But all the guys will be on the website, and everything will be handheld for everyone.
But like I say, all of the stuff that comes in the future has to be implicit in the first version. Otherwise, you have to relaunch a brand new thing. So it is kind of a big job, but certainly there's been time slippage, and we don't even apologize for that, because it is what it is. We're exploring some new stuff and doing new innovation here. So it is what it is, but you should start to see this very, very quickly. Now, basically, the call to action is always the same. Use the stuff that you have and don't bemoan the stuff that you don't have. The child education packs are there. Use them and explore them and drive them through your business. Get everyone to sign up to do at least one charity project when they start, because they're doing good work, and it's good karma, it's good energy that comes back to them. I believe in that. Get qualified for everything. Use the 31st of March deadline, because you have the cut-off of the bronze, silver, gold rank awards. Use that to drive your business and drive that kind of deadline-driven fear of loss thing. I mean, again, in 10 years' time, no one will care. But at the moment, people in the moment, people need something to motivate them to do that extra effort. That's what we've certainly discovered with our global business. That no matter which culture you're in, be that South Africa, be that Dubai, be that China, be that the UK, a deadline is something that people respond to. So we give you deadlines, and that's kind of part of the mix in Leo, that you always have an alive business with something to work towards. So fine, all of that is good. Do the paperwork on redeeming your tickets, etc. But in the overall scheme of things, we are in a very good position now, because, like I said at the beginning of the call, we have spent some time dealing with nonsense. We've spent some time cleaning up. We've spent some time weeding our garden, and we are now at a place where we're surging forward to the next level of Leo. I know many of you have heard that before, and it's kind of fine. We're always going to sell you the vision of the future, just as much as anything, to let you know that we have a vision for the future. If we were just saying, yeah, carry on, do your thing, no. We have a vision for the future that is big. We have a vision for the future that is much bigger than any of you can even imagine. But I don't want to lose credibility by talking about that. But I have been a corporate executive in companies that had 20 million members. I know what has to be done to build one of those. We've built communities before in social media terms. We built communities in direct selling terms. I know what we have to do, and we're finally ready to get that moving. So I thank you, as always, for your hard work, for your commitment, and for your, and I don't hesitate to use the word, for your love, because there's a lot of love in the Leo room, and I'm very, very pleased about that, because we're building a good business. We're building a business that is impacting people's lives positively. We are changing the world one brain at a time with our entrepreneurship training, and cognizant of a brain once expanded never contracts to its original dimension. Once you've realized that you can create win-wins, you don't have to rape and pillage anymore. Once you realize that people want to work together, you don't go back to becoming people that sort of celebrates wars between people. Like I said again in the beginning of the call, we want to build bridges between people, and the next bridge will be built in Brazil with our leaders from all over the world, from so many different countries, that will be nothing less than the United Nations of Leo in Rio de Janeiro next week. So very exciting times. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I'm going to love you and leave you and say thank you to me here for coming on board, and speak to you all next Monday. Cheers for now. Bye.